Greetings, neighbors. It is Society, and today is 420. For some people, it is Passover, and for some people, it is past the trees. Okay, so for those that celebrate Passover at this time, happy Easter to you. I'm sure some of you saw the Easter video I put up, and that's just about the origins and the history of the pagan Easter time, right? You can celebrate God's memoriam anytime you want, whether it's early spring or now. You're still celebrating the Lord, and that's a good thing. But there still is a connection to why they call Passover and Easter and connect it, and it's because of their ancient origins and pagan beliefs. So even if you are memorializing the Lord at this time, that's a good thing. Okay, right? Because who really knows the exact times? We don't. The point is that we are thanking Christ for dying upon the cross for us. And you know what? It's quite serendipitous. Is that the word? I'm not sure, but that it's 420. Passover and past the trees. Now, there's a lot going on. The girls are fighting, and they're always fighting. But today, they're fighting over name brands. The dragon, designed by Rome. And I just want to say to the dragon, because that's what I'm going to call you here, because every time I address you and your atrocities, you just want to wipe it away. I remember when I addressed you about what you were doing in Jamaica. I addressed, why were you stealing resources, the dragon? Why were you poisoning people's rivers on their farm so that their fish were dying, that they could not use the water there to water the farms, because you were putting all type of poison in the water, and the video got struck. The video was down, and said if I put up videos like this, I could lose my channel. See, so you don't cry about anybody calling you a peasant, because when you come to other people's countries, you treat them like peasants. You don't care about what you're doing as long as you're making money. And because now you're reaching your pinnacle, you are now the one on the pedestal. You don't like that Rome is speaking to you the way that they've spoke to everybody. I don't know what you think is different. And the truth is the truth. If somebody designed something, that's the designer. You're just the person in the factory that's making it. Now, is that disrespectful for them to act like there's not a need for all of us to work together? Because both are needed. The person that designs, the person that creates, and the person that's going to build the creation. But of course, this is Rome you're dealing with. So what did you think? Right? They're never going to give up. They're never going to give up that position, And the British did us the same way, did they not? They had us on the plantation. No, we didn't make the sugar. God made it. They had us working for free and making millions of dollars in that time off of sugar. Sugar was running the world. Okay? It was the crack of that era. Okay? So, and that's the truth. So you're just the new competition, right? And we didn't get anything off those gains, and mind you, we didn't get anything off of it. So that's why I tell my people, get what you can from the government now, any way possible, because they're never going to give you reparations, right? Because if you know your history and you know your Bible, you would understand why you came here on ships. Deuteronomy, you would understand why you came here on ships. I think that's Deuteronomy 28. So, but I will probably put that verse in here regardless, whatever the verse is. And so you just take what you can get from them from now. Now people call it this and that, scamming, scheming. I don't care. Take what you can, because I see a lot in Toronto right now. There's a lot of Caucasian people crying about, I can't pay my rent, I'm going broke, I'm on the street, and they would love to have housing, but they can't get it in, because guess who has all the housing? All the immigrants, all the people that, they kind of acted like we're at the lower echelon, they're not the upper echelon society, right? So they're at the lower end of society in their minds, and you see what happens? Now they want to get in, because they can't pay their rent. Now they don't mind living in housing. Now they're making more houses for housing for them. But at one point, no. You didn't want to be in the ghettos. You didn't want to be at the lower end, lower income. Now everybody's fighting to get in, because they're living in the parks in tents. That's the truth. Look it up. Toronto and a lot of Canada. the Caucasians is going broke. And, when they start getting affected, everybody gets affected. That's when change happens. When it starts affecting their babies. When they're on here on TikTok crying about that their little Bobby and little Brittany can't get a job. They're not playing. Okay? They are fighting the Asians. Asian Indians and Asians overseas because they don't want to lose that position. I mean, they've been sitting on the throne and they don't want to lose to the dragon, to the bear. But ninja, he's coming in as a ninja, investing all around the world and have taken over like a ninja. They didn't expect it, but they got kung fu kicked off the pedestal. And I have no problem because you know what? They were shipping us like bundles right now. They're doing it right now. America, you are shipping people like bundles back to their country. And really, it's a blessing because what's going to happen to you, America? It's not going to be great. What's about to happen to you is not going to be great. You're taking people of a certain ethnicity, of certain culture, nationality, countries, shipping them back. But it's going to be for the better blessing of them. They don't understand it now, but I can foresee it. Because what's going to happen to you, America, is not going to be great. That's why you calling people peasants, but you will be the peasant. You'll find out because you went against the ninja. Kung Fu kicks you off the pedestal. The dragon doesn't play. And neither does the bear. So somebody's going to be sitting in the king's chair and it ain't going to be Charles. Charles will not be in charge any further longer. And that's how it just has to go because look what you did to us. And this time, black people, you sit the hell back. You don't run forward talking about I need to fight this war. I gotta prove you don't prove anything. You did that and they still treated you like shit in your war. When you stepped up and said, I will help fight for my country. I love you, black Americans. You see how they did you? This time, you sit back and you let God do his work. You don't step in the way. When God's working, you let him work. It's your time. And I want to say this to my Caucasian brothers and sisters because not all of you are at fault here. Some of you are just living your life as a white person, as a regular person. But understand, the people that run this country, that run Canada, and that run America, they are crazed, they're deranged, they're racist. And you can't stop it. So you understand that sometimes. So I would just say, know your history. You better know what's going on because guess what? Some things are coming and it ain't going to be great. This is why right now on the Gaza, they got the red heifers gathering them up, just waiting for that special moon time season, right? Moon mania. The tides are high and they're holding on because they want to stay that number one. They're not the type to just give up like that. They are going to keep on fighting to stay in the position of power. But America, absolutely not. And we can see you're getting mad, okay? Talking about how people are dressed at meetings. Talking about peasantry. The fight for power is on. The fight for power is on because you don't want to be a peasant. But the Caucs in the Asian, isn't it not? I mean, they go together. Caucasian. You go together and your haplogroup says you go together too. Your haplogroup says you are one. You are one. Okay? The dragon, the bear, the one that's sitting in the chair. So it's a happy Passover and pass the trees, a special 420. Okay? Representing for Christ and representing for something green and nice. Happy day and good day, neighbors, today.
The west side of Detroit celebrating 420 Day. It is, hey, Jay.
Hit it, Charlie.
You hit it, man.
Hit it, Charlie.
Yeah. 24/20 all the time. It's not just today.
This is America. This is America.